Hey, what's going on? It's Quinn Furness, and this is my podcast, the Beantown Podcast. We're coming to you live from 817 St. Paul Street here in beautiful Beantown, USA. It's thunderstorming outside. First ever Beantown podcast, singing in the rain. It just started about 10 minutes ago. It had been hot as balls before that and sunny. Got a little sunburn today walking around Hunfest, first sunburn of the year. Hunfest, of course, if you have seen Hairspray, the crazy hair, and just, I don't know, kind of a wacko culture. Don't really know how to describe it other than to just watch the film or the musical. That's what it's like. Hairspray, of course. You're the one that I want. You are the one. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. Billie Jean King and what's his name? The guy from Face Off, John Travolta. Classic in that movie. Travolta, the guy who introduced Idina Menzel, and it was what was it? It was like Navajo Tahi or something. It was a strange award ceremony. It was at the Oscars, Grammys. I don't remember. That was about 5 years ago. That was fun. What's going on? What's been happening in your life? Listener discretion is advised on the Beantown podcast for two reasons. Number one, we will occasionally use some language here and there and everywhere. And then number two, the podcast is just objectively terrible. Consider yourself warned. It's about 97% humidity here. Fill up my glass of water, and within about 30 seconds, it's more wet on the outside of the glass than it is on the inside of the glass. I tell you what, we are sipping today from the University of Delaware Chemical Engineering class of 2018 glass mug. It's got different lines on it, and so at the top it says, drink this much to forget, and then each line represents something different. Let's go down the line here. What's a material balance again? That's at the top. Next is your CHEG 112 grade. I don't know what class that is. Never taken an engineering class myself. Next one is Bernoulli's equation. I know that from Spider-Man 2. It's a classic equation. I don't know what it talks about. Find that out later. Next one down is heat convection, like an oven. And then the last one at the bottom is Fuga City, which I think is the town where they find Jar Jar Binks in the Phantom Menace is Fuga City. So, anyways, thanks to my much older Auntie Anna for providing the lovely glass mug. I feel like I'm part of the University of Delaware class of 2018 myself every time I drink from it. It's nice to be part of the team. Glad to be an engineer, you know. Quick shout out here to my little sister. Her birthday is tomorrow. Happy Monday, I think. Monday, June 11th. Happy birthday, sis. Turning 22 this year. So insert obvious Taylor Swift song reference here. Let's see. We're watching a Cubs game here. They're up 2-0 against the Pirates, bottom of the third. They're at home. Looks like a beautiful day at Wrigley. Happy birthday to my sis. Let's jump right in here. I promised everyone that I would tell this story on the podcast because I was bitching and moaning about it last night. I've taken a much more I guess comical approach or comedic approach to it. 24 hours later, but last night it was kind of frustrating. So back on the dating scene, here and there, Tinder, Bumble, that Jewish one, Coffee Meets Bagel, Plenty of Fish, Hinge, OkCupid, Grindr, Match.com, eHarmony, all this stuff. You're gonna find me on there. Anyways. So go on an online date last night, and we're meeting up right around my apartment, scheduled for 7 o'clock. So I get there 7 o'clock on time, because I'm an on-time type of guy. And I get an outdoor table. It's a beautiful night. Order my beer. I get there first. So the girl texts me and says that she's running like 10 minutes behind. I'm like, okay, this is fine. She's driving from the next town over. So I understand. That's okay. So it gets to be about 7:15, and waiting there and not hearing much. Eventually, she pulls up beside she's on the street, and I'm sitting on the sidewalk in a table, but there isn't parking right there. So she yells, "Hey Quinn, this is our first time meeting actually." And I say, "Yeah, hey, just go find a parking spot. Here I am." And she's like, "Well, where am I supposed to park?" And I'm like, first thought is, figure it out yourself. But I'm like, yeah, I'm like a nice person, People say I'm nice. So, like, if you go 2 blocks south down the street, easy street parking. It's pay to park, but you have to pay after 8 o'clock, and it's already close to 7:30. You're going to be perfectly fine just sitting there the whole night. You don't have to pay at all. Even if you wanted to pay to be better safe than sorry, it's going to cost you, I think, $1 maybe. So, yeah, just go down there, go park. I'll be here, 5 minutes when you come back. So, I sit there, and we're like texting, and she's like, I can't find a spot, which is ridiculous because I had just walked by there, and I knew that there were spots. Keep going. It's like 7:30 now. 7:35, and I'm like, are you okay? Are you alive? Do you want me to send up a smoke signal or a semaphore signal or something? Like, what can I do? What can Brown do for you? And she's like, man, I still can't find a spot, which it's been over half an hour at this point. It's frustrating. But anyways, I give her explicit directions to 3 different areas within like 2 blocks of where I am, where I know that there's parking. One is at a monument, one is in the parking lot of a coffee shop. Like all these places have open parking, I know all the time, because every time I need to park around my apartment, I go to these places. And nothing. Thing that pissed me off, she kept saying the GPS is taking me in a crazy direction. What are you using your what did you put in your GPS? Like, what are you looking for? Here's how you park in any situation. You show up to the place. If there's parking there, you park. If not, you make concentric circles. It's the George Costanza technique. It's very intuitive. It's very straightforward. You drive in circles around, expanding as you need to until you find a spot. What are you using your GPS for? Like, where is your GPS taking you, and what are you searching for? I don't understand. So I give her directions to, this Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, and 10 minutes later, she texts me and says, oh, it took me to a different Dunkin' Donuts. I told you the cross streets that the Dunkin' Donuts was at. This is like when Michael Scott drives into the lake because he listens to the GPS, just like, but this is real life. So we hit the hour point and still not here. And at this point, I'm just completely confounded, befuddled, bamboozled, even obfuscated. And I just say, look, listen, I'm going to be here for another hour, which was true. If you decide at some point you want to park, you can do it and come join me. But after that hour is up, I'm going home, which was true, and that's what I did. She says, let's reschedule. So we did, and this all took place over like hour 15, hour 20-ish until we finally decided to reschedule. I have no words. That was baffling. Look, here's the thing. Parking in a large city close to downtown is never fun for anyone. No one shows up and is like, oh man, I can't wait to find parking here. It's going to be awesome. but it's really not that tough to park in Baltimore. It's pretty easy compared to other cities with a similar size population. And where I live in proximity to downtown, Washington, D.C., a nightmare. Boston is a nightmare. Even Atlanta can be tough to find parking at times in the downtown region. It's not hard here in Beantown. I'm not a good parker. I'm not a great parallel parker. I get it. Sometimes it takes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to drive around the block a couple times and look for a spot that you feel comfortable getting into. I understand. But this was over an hour. And for those of you who are listening right now saying like, oh, dude, she's playing you, she's ghosting you. No, she wasn't, because she lives 20 minutes away, drove down here. I saw her. She drove past the bar and said hi. So this is just, man, you might be a nice person, but damn, that's a turn off for me, incompetence. Don't have a ton of patience for it. I have about half an hour's worth of patience for it, and after that half hour is up, when you take another 45 minutes, I start to lose the patience. So that's the Tinder story that happened to me last night. Thank you for your kind words and your support. I do appreciate it. If you have a terrible Tinder date or anything of the like, story of your own that you want to share, please feel free to email me, beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. That is Beantown, BEANTOWN podcast@yahoo.com. We would love to hear from you. Always fun hearing from the fans, seeing what stories they have. I know you guys got stories. I know you're listening to this and you got a fun one to share. It's always anonymous on the podcast. Send me your story. I'd love to read it on the air, and we'll show everybody that I'm not alone. Really what this boils down to, and this is a phrase I used before and I'll continue to use it, she's a low Q woman. Low Q, low quality woman. She's a low Q woman. Give me the low Q man. Right? Low Q woman alert. Red alert. I'm getting worked up into a frenzy talking about this crap. What else is going on in the world? My parents came close to buying a house last week before they decided that due to my dad's potential job situation with Sears, they weren't going to do it. And I'm just thinking, how did you get this far in the process of thinking you're going to buy a house when Dad works for Sears? I mean, I've been fearful of my dad's job security because he works for Sears for like 23 years now. And now this realization just came out. That's kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going full rant mode here, but like that, it seems like something that you would have known about before you came close to putting an offer on a house. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Sears has been going out of business for 50 years now, and we're just coming to that realization. I don't know, Mom and Dad. Happy for you. Hope you find something you like, but that doesn't make sense to me. I just wanted to share that personal anecdote from my family life. Thank you for listening. The Belmont Stakes are happening in about 3 hours. Post time 6:37 p.m. on Saturday. Recording this on Saturday afternoon, June 9th. In honor of Justify going for the Triple Crown, and in honor of horses everywhere, I thought it would be fun, and I've actually been talking about doing this for a while, and I've been thinking about this for a while. We are going to do our top 10 list of horse names created by yours truly. Some of them are just off the top of my head. Some of them are taken from other things. None of them are horse names. They're all given this kind of new angle to them by by me, the host, creator, and best boy of the Beantown podcast. So here we go. Number 1, and this is the one I share all the time. I tell people one day I'm going to own a horse. He's going to win the Kentucky Derby, and this will be his name, Episcopalian. That's number 1. It's got that edgy, multi-syllabic, one-word thing going for it. It's got the religious aspect. You all know this is a very religious podcast. And the fans who listen to it, follow it religiously. And I thank you, my fans, for liking and supporting and subscribing to this podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, go ahead, hit subscribe right there on the right underneath the screen. If you're on iTunes, we'd love to have your support. You can like the tracks on SoundCloud. You can follow our page on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are at Beantown Cast, at BEANTOWN Cast, short for podcast. It's lingo I use to save time. We would love to have your support there. We're always tweeting. We're always, interacting with the fans. That's what this experience is all about. Share it with friends and family if you actually, and I'm serious about this, if you actually like what you're listening to and you think it's a fun thing to do once a week for half an hour, 40 minutes, share it with other people, because that's how we're going to get those sponsorship dollars in. Are you listening to me, Jack Links? Thank you very much. I got the cup on my coffee table right now. But Episcopalian is the number 1 on our list of top 10 horse names. Number 2, I just thought of this yesterday and I was really proud of it, Anheuser Bitch. That's number 2, Anheuser Bitch. Number 3 is a classic. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's Slumdog. That's also the name of the team I played as at trivia this past week. Usually play under the name We Drink, We Know Things, but it's the off season. There are no playoff points at stake, and I was playing by myself. So I went for Slumdog, got second prize, It was a good night. Number 4, this is a throwback that only a few of my listeners will understand, but I'm going to put it out there. Leanne Thompson. That's number 4. It is Leanne Thompson. Number 5, going back to the one-word idea, Ticonderoga. That seems like just a gimme. Like, you got to have that as a horse name at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if it already existed, but Ticonderoga is number 5. Number 6 is a little throwback to my roots as a music major, una corda. It is the furthest left pedal on a piano, makes everything, mutes the sound a little bit. It is una corda. It is Italian for the Pope, actually. So, because the Pope, in older days when the piano was invented, the popes were much more quiet. They weren't screaming down at you from the pulpit, and so that's how una corda kind of came around, and they threw it on the pianos, and it stuck. Number 7 is Stamford Raffles. Founded Singapore some 300 years ago, and now he's got his own horse, Stamford Raffles. Look at that. The sun's out. The thunderstorm lasted about 10 minutes. That was crazy. Number 8. Here's a relevant one for all the young progressives out there. Darth Vader Ginsburg. Okay, hang on. It's straight sun outside, and there's crazy thunder going on. I don't know what to make of this. What a day. Maybe the apocalypse is happening outside. I'm not sure. Number 8 was Darth Vader Ginsburg. Might have to get the rights from Disney before I can do that. I'm not sure. But Disney, you know where to find me. I'm at the Beantown Cast, or excuse me, at Beantown Cast. We are Beantown Podcast, yahoo.com. Of course, RBG, new doc, just came out on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things. Number 9 is a mud dauber. Mud dauber. That's an insect that I just actually learned about the other day. It's like a wasp, but it's different. And it's a mud dauber. You don't want to get bit by one of those guys, and you don't want to lose to mud dauber in the Kentucky Derby or the Belmont Stakes or the Preakness. Number 10, the final on the list of top 10 horse names is Richard Hidalgo. That's a beautiful name that I thought of yesterday. It's a blend between the, of course, the movie with Aragorn and Viggo Mortensen, and then actually the man Richard Hidalgo, who was a baseball player for about 10 years, Mets and Astros, and he played for a few other teams, but those Astros were kind of his big one. He had one season where he had something like 45 home runs, but I think he might have had some injury issues. Never quite stayed at the top. So again, let's run down the list of the top 10 horse names. Number 1, Episcopalian. Number 2, Anheuser-Busch. Number 3, Slumdog. Number 4, Leanne Thompson. Number 5, Ticonderoga. Number 6, Una Corda. Number 7, Stamford Raffles. Number 8, Darth Vader Ginsburg. 9 is Mud Dauber, and we finish it off number 10 with the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Hidalgo. So I tell you what, in 20 years, when you're sitting at home on a late May day watching the Kentucky Derby with friends and family, and you see Stamford Raffles out in front being ridden by, well, not me because I'm 6'2" and 200 plus pounds, but a nice Mexican man who is jockeying for my horse, you know who owns it. It's the man himself, Quinn David Furness. Tell him Quinn sent you. And, hey, maybe the Beantown podcast will still be going. This is our 22nd episode. Here's to 22 more. Here's to 222 more. That would be special. Let's see. If you do it every week, that's 53 a week for 20 years. That's, what, something like 10,000 episodes. More than that even. Who would have thunk I'd be able to come up with 10,000 episodes worth of content? We're not there yet, but hey, if I'm sitting in the flower chair and I'm 45 years old and I still have the Beantown podcast going, that's going to be actually amazing. Maybe it would be a Guinness World Record for longest continuously running podcast. I don't know. But that's the goal here. I want to give a plug for merchandise. You saw my Snapchats. We're selling some hats, some T-shirts. If you're interested, shoot me a text or shoot us an email or tweet at us or send us a message on Facebook. You know where to find us. We've got some hats. We've got some T-shirts. I'm really happy to kind of put in order of whatever kind of merch you want, but like and support the Beantown podcast. Wear it around town. People are talking. People are buzzing. The bees are buzzing. The scribes are going nuts for it. It's becoming a sensation. You know, I'm up to something like, I don't know, like 20 total subscribers. That's huge. And we're close to, I think, 20 more. So, plug the merch. My one of my brothers fired some shots last night over my trivia abilities, saying that, wow, Quinn, you go and oftentimes you can get, first or second playing by yourself. When I play in a group of 4 people, we hardly ever crack the top, 3 or whatever. And he's saying, well, your trivia games must just be inferior. Well, back at you, bitch. Sorry for being smart and for studying for trivia and for going every week so that I'm consistent. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not sure if this is Lexington and Concord or the Furness brothers going back and forth here, but I tell you what, I don't appreciate my trivia abilities being knocked. It's not too nice. PSA for everyone out there, the plural of Furness is Furness, because there's nothing messier than saying the Furnaces it's Furness. You're going to a flock of Furness. If we ever had a band name, that's what it would be. But not going to be a band with all these all this shade being thrown over trivia abilities. I don't come to where you teach and shoot a basketball, so there you go. Shout out to Paul Schrader's film, First Reformed. Had a limited release. It's been out for about a month now. I went to see it last weekend. It is Ethan Hawke, Amanda Seyfried, and Cedric the Entertainer. It is fantastic. Everyone should go watch it. Paul Schrader's the guy who wrote Taxi Driver and Raging Bull and The Last Temptation of Christ, starring David Bowie. Everyone should. It's really good. It's a nice blend between religion and politics, which the two are always intertwined. Ethan Hawke gives a very strong performance. I give the film 3.5 stars out of 4. It should be coming on a wider release maybe next weekend. I'm not sure when it's when A24 is doing its wide release, but Ethan Hawke did a spot on Colbert the other night, so I would have to think that it's going to be making its wider nationwide release soon here. I think it was originally just New York and LA like a month ago, and they're testing a few markets, including one of my local theaters here, so I went and saw it. Best $10 I ever spent in the last week, so go check it out. It was good stuff. Basketball team got knocked out in the opening round of the playoffs last Tuesday. Sad. We'd had a heck of a season. We went 1-7 in the regular season, which was good enough to get us a 7 seed out of 9 teams. Believe it or not, somehow that happened. And I tell you what, we fought hard, but we lost by about 50 points. It wasn't pretty. I finished the year with a grand total of 0 points. So I was hot this year. You know, I kept thinking to myself, man, once if I can sink 5 or 6 threes in a row, kind of get the feel for it going, get my stroke going, get the adrenaline going, then I'm gonna light up that elementary school gym. But if you can't get the first one to fall, it's tough to really get on fire. So it was a tough season. It was fun. I only did basketball league because my softball league got canceled, actually. Apologies to my teammates for I am not a basketball player. My basketball IQ is not high. And it's just, I'm sure me being there was fun for no one. But I had fun sucking it up, being just a giant turd out there. So, playing a softball league that should start in about 3 weeks here, maybe 2, and that's where I'm really going to shine. I can't do much on defense other than play, pitcher, catcher, first, second base. I can play outfield because I have good range, but I won't be able to gun anybody down at the plate with my shoulder issues, unfortunately. But that should be fun. I think I still have my hitting abilities working for me. That's the one thing that I always had going for me when I played baseball. My defense would kind of be here and there. Pitching was usually fine, but my offense was, I don't know. That was something I always just kind of took for granted, but having like a, Little League, probably around like a 750 on base percentage each year was probably my average. Maybe not quite that high, maybe like 600, but yeah, just get a lot of walks, steal a lot of bases. That was the fun part of it for me. I liked defense, but I really liked getting to hit, especially in pressure situations. We'll see if that translates to my softball league. I went to the doctor yesterday. First time going to a primary care physician in probably, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 years. Everything was going fine until I had to go down to the lab to do my blood work. Thanks to the failing Obamacare, I said it, waited 45 minutes just to get a shot. If you wait 45 minutes to get a shot at the bar, they'll shoot you. Thanks to the failing President Obama and his cronies, and probably Hillary too, and James Comey, I had to wait 45 minutes just for a little prick. Obama's a little prick, we'd love to have you on anytime, Barack. Please come by. Oh, big news on the political front. Free Blagojevich. Yeah, a hashtag trend that I started. It's probably top 5, top 10 nationwide hashtag. Will Rod Blagojevich be getting pardoned by President Trump? That's kind of what it sounded like. Will Rod be returning back to his Springfield home with Patty? We want to know. Got to get that hair back in the news. Love me some Blagojevich. Dick Durbin's behind it. Get Blagojevich out and get him running for president. I think that's what everybody wants to see. He's the American darling, which would be a good horse name, ironically or coincidentally. But free Blagojevich. It's huge. It's taken off. You know where it started. It was Quinn David Furness. We'll see what happens with that development. Would love to see Blagojevich out. Rod, we'd love to have you on the podcast. If Patty's available, we'll take her too. Patty, you were great on I'm a Celebrity. Get Me Out of Here season 2 with who else was on that season? John Sally and Spencer and Heidi Pratt. And one of the Baldwin brothers was on there. And I'm trying to... What was the name of the guy who won? He's an actor. Can't remember right now. I know what he looks like. We'll get back to that later. Last 2 days ago, I was taking the Charm City Circulator home. I was taking to the basketball game on Tuesday. And I'm sitting down, and at a stop, like 5 minutes after I get on, comes this middle-aged black guy, and he sits down across from me, and he's just got this huge-ass, like, foot-long knife in a holster on his belt. This guy's like, not that cops carry knives, but he's just like a random citizen, and he's carrying this huge-ass knife, and I'm just like, this is Baltimore. This is America. This is America. Little Childish Gambino. The strife of the working class white man in this country, it's unprecedented, and it's got to stop because I felt attacked. I'm glad I wasn't actually attacked because it was like legitimately scary. Who's walking around inner cities with just huge ass knives just in a holster? It's one thing to have like a switchblade, but this guy just like if he was a cop, he had a gun in a holster. But no, this is just like a random dude with a knife in a holster, like he was going to a fish fry or something. I don't get it. Please don't carry your foot-long knives around me. Makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Makes me feel a lot unsafe. And just who needs a knife like that? Why is that being carried around? If you're going to carry that, for God's sakes, get a backpack and stuff it in there so that other people don't realize you have it. Because I was just like, when I got off, I was like, thank God this dude's not a crazy person because, he just got a knife. So, PSA, for those of you riding the Circulator, watch out for men with knives. Not a enjoyable experience, but not an isolated experience. I've gotten on the bus, sat across, a guy with a gun before. Don't like it. Not a fan. Anyways, where are we? How are we doing on time here? 34 minutes. Let's check the email here. Let's see what sort of advice questions we've got. All right, check in the email. What do we got? Who's got a question? No new emails. Okay. Well, hey, if you have advice questions, or if you got a good Tinder date story or anything of the sort, send it to beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. Beantown, BEANTOWN podcast@yahoo.com. We would love to have your feedback, your input. One of these weeks, I'm going to get an email, and it's going to be great. This inbox is going to just blow up from there. I think just gotta catch fire. So, anywho, that's what's going on in my life. Good luck to Justify tonight as he goes for the Triple Crown in New York. And otherwise, I hope everyone's having a good start to summer. And that's what I got for you. No music today. I am home. I do have my guitar, and I was actually singing some Bon Jovi last night to get me pumped up for my date. As one often will do. But I don't know. Kind of got the sads since that. So is what it is. I will drink myself to sleep, and everything will be just fine. This has been Quinn David Furness presenting the Beantown podcast. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't take up too much of your time. And everyone have a good week. And I'll check in on you next weekend.